Imagine being thousands of miles away, serving your country in a war zone, when the only email you get from your spouse isn't words of love or encouragement, it's divorce papers. Now imagine finding out she'd emptied your accounts and moved another man into your home. Most people would break under the weight of that betrayal. But what if, instead, you turned the tables and exposed a scheme bigger than you ever imagined? Stay with me, because this true-to-life story has a twist so sharp, even the FBI had to get involved. My name is Mark Bennett, and I'm 42 years old. For over 2 decades, I served in the Army, most recently as a staff sergeant with the 101st Airborne. 4 months into a deployment in Kandahar, Afghanistan, I opened my laptop after patrol, expecting nothing more than the usual brief emails from home. Instead, I found my life ending in a subject line, "Let's be adults about this." Attached was a PDF file, 3 sentences inside. My wife, Laura, was divorcing me. She had already filed the paperwork. She had already drained our joint account. And she had already moved her new boyfriend, Ryan, into our home in Spokane. I read it twice, closed the laptop, took a shower in the communal stall, then dressed for my shift and said nothing to anyone. That night, back in my bunk, I typed one word in reply: understood. No begging, no threats, no argument, just clarity. Truth be told, I wasn't blindsided. 6 months before deployment, I'd noticed the changes. Laura stopped asking about my day. She began working late at the dental office where she handled admin. She started going to the gym 3 nights a week, but never looked like she'd exercised. She bought new clothes, changed her passwords. She thought I didn't see it. I did. But confrontation has never been my way. Instead, I prepared, quietly, methodically. I gathered important documents: our marriage license, my birth certificate, the VA loan paperwork for our house, and stored them in a small rental unit across town. I moved heirlooms that mattered: my grandfather's watch, my mother's silver. I also opened a separate account at another bank and funneled part of my pay there. Not enough for her to notice, but enough that if the ground gave way beneath me, I wouldn't fall into nothing. The night before I deployed, she hugged me at the airport. Her eyes were dry, like she was saying goodbye to a coworker, not a husband heading to war. I should have known then, but part of me hoped I was wrong. I was. 2 weeks later, sitting in the mess hall, I checked my phone. A bank notification blinked across the screen. Withdrawal, $88,500. Almost everything we had left. By the time I logged in, our savings account was wiped out. Over $47,000 gone, transferred to some account I didn't recognize. That night, I called the bank from the base phone center. The representative told me Laura had been moving money for weeks, small amounts at first, then large transfers the day after I deployed. My marriage wasn't just over, my financial stability was burning down. Still, I didn't shout, didn't curse, didn't cry. Instead, I made a list. Strategy had kept me alive in combat, and now it would keep me alive in betrayal. At 500 before shift, I emailed my old Army buddy James Walker, who had since become a lawyer. Subject line: need legal help, discreet and urgent. His reply came an hour later: call me on a secure line. By the time my boots touched American soil again 2 months later, I had a plan. I didn't tell Laura I was back, didn't go home. I checked into a cheap motel under another name and met James at a diner 10 miles outside Spokane. "You look like hell," he said, sliding into the booth. "Feel like it too." He handed me a folder. Inside were bank statements, house documents, and most damning, a refinance application on our home. The signature was supposed to be mine, but the middle initial was wrong. The strokes didn't match. "She forged it," I said flatly. James nodded. 3 months ago, pulled out $330,000, listed Ryan as co-applicant. He's got a criminal record, fraud, and DUIs. So she forged my name, took a loan against our house, then emptied our accounts, all while I was deployed. Pretty much. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was crime. The next day, I went straight to the bank, showed the loan officer my ID, my real signature, and the forged papers. His face went pale. "We'll need to escalate this immediately." That evening, Laura left me a voicemail. Her voice trembled with false concern. "Mark, we need to talk. The bank called about the house. What are you doing? If this is about the divorce, we can be adults." Adults, the same word from her email. I deleted the message. Soon after, James called with bigger news. Ryan had been pulled over driving my truck, still in my name. The cops impounded it. In the cab, they found prescription pads stolen from the dental office where Laura worked. Fraud piled on fraud. And then came another discovery. James traced several transfers from the refinance account to a man named Daniel Price, a real estate agent known for quick cash sales. Turns out, Laura and Ryan planned to sell my house far below market value. Daniel had worked with Ryan before in similar arrangements with other women going through divorce. This wasn't just Laura betraying me, it was a full-blown operation. The FBI stepped in. Agent Patel and Agent Donovan told me they'd been tracking Ryan and Daniel for months. My case gave them the evidence they needed to prove conspiracy. Still, Laura texted me frantic, "Mark, please call. I don't know what's happening. The FBI was at the house. Ryan's been arrested." I typed back, "Who is Daniel Price?" 3 dots appeared, then stopped, then again. Finally, "It's not what you think." But it was exactly what I thought. The FBI raided my house the next day. Ryan and Daniel were cuffed in my driveway, caught on camera, plotting to sell the home. Laura stood on the lawn, pale as a ghost, as agents carried out boxes of evidence. When I asked the agents what would happen to her, they said it depended on how much she knew and on what I wanted. In the end, Ryan and Daniel both went to prison, 8 years and 12 years, respectively. Laura signed a confession admitting to the forgery and agreed to full restitution of the stolen funds, forfeiture of any claim to my house or pension, and a clean divorce. 6 months after that email from Kandahar, my marriage was legally over. A year later, I sold the house, couldn't stand the memories in those walls, bought a small cabin outside Missoula, Montana, 2 bedrooms, 10 acres, a creek in the back, quiet, honest, real. I retired from the army after 20 years, adopted a German shepherd named Ranger, took up carpentry, lived one day at a time. Sometimes I thought of Laura, wondered where she ended up, but mostly I didn't care. Because betrayal had broken something in me, but it had also built something new. So what do you think? Was Laura just a pawn in a bigger game, or was she in on the scheme from the start? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story of betrayal, resilience, and justice served, don't forget to subscribe to Tales Between Time for more stories that will stay with you long after they're told.